Hello, Minecrafters and Redstoners. I am Natanis Likens. How is everybody doing today? I'm doing good. We haven't been in Minecraft in a while. I did start streaming it again last week, but we haven't actually made a video in a while. So I was thinking, we're gonna do a video. What am I gonna talk about? Because some things have come to light that I'm like, okay, let's get down to business. So as far as like building and everything, I've got the passion. I don't have the skill. You guys haven't been watching. That must be the thing. And not to mention the passion. Redstone. Well, I've kind of got the skill. I kind of have the passion. Let's make a redstone video. How's that sound? Yes. Okay. So we are going to make a redstone video. What are we going to do? What are we going to build? Actually, I was thinking of a different approach on this. Let's go over the basics of redstone. Let's kind of dive into it and show you the information that I know about it, and let you guys go hog wild after that, because I will show you like how to implement some of these ideas and everything, and some of the very bare bones basics to make complex machines within Minecraft. Alright, so you're into Minecraft, you want to learn some redstone, you want to know what this dust right here does. The dust is the bare bones basic from what you understand. Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. So redstone dust is used to carry a signal. Calling it the bare bones basic is, in my opinion, incorrect. Actually, the most basic thing that you need to know is if a signal is off or on, and if it is pulsing. So, in my opinion, the most basic components of redstone are actually redstone lamps, levers, and buttons. Let's go over that just briefly to explain everything. So these lamps here are not getting any power. They are not on, they are not lit up like the ones you see to my right. So if I turn the signal on, this redstone lamp will be on. And as long as it's getting power from redstone of some sort, it will always be on. So basically what I want to reiterate here is that redstone is either off or it is on. Those are the only two states of redstone. Now, with that being said, there are other things you can do with it, like sending a pulse through your redstone contraption in order to activate specific lines. For instance, if I press this button, you'll see the lamp comes on and then the lamp goes off. That is what we call a pulse. It is getting a signal for a brief moment of time before shutting itself off again. Now, with that being said, we need to talk about the redstone itself. Why am I not including it as the most basic component? When in reality, it is the starting point of all redstone. You need that to basically build everything except for levers and buttons. For redstone lamps, you obviously need redstone for it. The reason for this is because redstone is not as simple as you think. It is simple, don't get me wrong, but there's an aspect of redstone that you do need to know. Redstone can only go so far. So if I turn this line on, and this is going back actually to our it's either on or it's off comment. However, I do want you to pay attention to how far the actual signal goes. So right about here, actually, I didn't build this far enough. Whoops, I can do it on this one. So right here, you can see that the signal is still going. You see the particles that let you know that the signal is still going. However, right here, it's not going. Why is that? Well, redstone has a signal strength. It only goes so far before that signal strength runs out. Imagine like a car with fuel in it. It can only go so far before it runs out of fuel. So, what is the distance, you may be asking? Well, the distance is 15 blocks. The furthest a redstone signal can go on its own is 15 blocks. In order to go any further than that, you need to extend the signal in some form. There's a couple different ways to do it, and over here I've got a setup that will demonstrate the most basic way you can do it, and that is with a redstone repeater. Basically, a repeater is going to take a signal and push it forward. So you can tell right here that this line is way out there. We're way past the 15 line mark, and yet that lamp right there is on. So if I go ahead and I turn this signal off, you will see that that redstone lamp way down there is now off. If I turn it on again, you will see that it is on. That's because after our 15 blocks, on the 16th block, we have a repeater right here that pushes the signal forward yet again. And I do want to point out that the redstone signal strength is the exact same starting right here. So we're at a signal strength of 15, and it degrades all the way down to a signal strength of 1. That is how redstone signals actually work. That is their strength, and how you can use that to manipulate redstone depends on what you need it for. So over here, I have kind of an example where we can extend the signal without using a repeater, but it's not going to go very far. And that is, we have actually a comparator over here. And I did this for a specific reason. So it's kind of to demonstrate the difference between a repeater and a comparator. So in this particular instance, we got the exact same setup, only we got lamps over here on this side to show you how far the signal actually went. So with comparators, it is going to take a signal input and output that exact same signal strength. So in this particular instance, this one right here is at a signal strength of 1. It is the lowest it can be without going into 0. The comparator will read that and output exactly the same strength of the signal. So in this case, right here, we are talking about a signal strength of 1. So it is right there. I kind of wish I had set up a lever to demonstrate this a little bit further, but if I go over here and we can go like probably about right here, we'll say like right there. I'm not exactly sure where that's at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we're at 10 right here. That means that we're going to have a signal strength of 15 at this point. 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. So that is going to, boy, that worked out really well. So that's going to put out a signal strength of 10. And what that means is that up to spot 10, all of these lamps are going to turn on, which I believe is going to be like right here somewhere at a glance. Yeah, it's going to be like right here. So if I go ahead and I turn this on, you will see that it's exactly like right there at that spot. It is putting out a signal strength of 10 that is going on right here into that comparator and pushing it out. Now, why is it called a comparator if we're just demonstrating that it can reproduce the exact same signal strength? Well, in past videos I've talked about this. You can put other things going into the side of the block and feed in a signal that way, and it is going to compare this signal coming into the side to the one in the back. Depending on which mode you have it in, different things happen. That is stuff that we are not going to get into today. That is for a more technical video later, but I do have another visual representation of this for you guys to see. So this is almost identical to that one. However, you will see that we've got this spot right here where the maximum amount of power coming in is 15. It spits this out and we have all 15 lamps lit up. And then all the way to the back here, we're at a signal strength of 1. So the comparator is reading that, pushing out a signal strength of 1. That is how that works. That is how you can manipulate the actual signal and use it at specific strengths if you need to. Again, that is not something we are going to get into today. That is something for a later video. Now, we are going to move on and talk a little bit more about the repeaters. So in this example, we got the same kind of setup going on down here where I've got a lever here and we've got a signal going down all 3 of these paths. However, each one is slightly different. And the importance here is when you are building a machine, you want signals to go off at specific times. You need to think of it you need to think of your machines as doing certain things in a particular order. So first this happens, second this happens, third this happens. That's the kind of mentality you need to have. And when you're planning out your redstone machines, you need to be aware of what is happening and what order. This is how you're going to manipulate the signals in order to get things to happen in a certain order, just by using repeaters in specific sequences. So what is going to happen right here is that the one on my left here, that one's going to activate pretty much instantly. There is a slight delay, but it's so minute that it's not even really mentioning. And then the middle one here is going to happen like a second or two later, and then this one over here is about 5 seconds later. I don't know, I didn't time them, but yeah, that's what's going to happen. You're going to see the left one light up, the middle one's going to light up next, and then a little while later, the one on the right side lights up. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that. Boink. You can see that even before I looked up, the left one is on, and you can see where the signal is going there. So the middle is on, and the one on the right, all of these repeaters are at maximum ticks. So that is it when you put down a repeater and you scroll through them. Yep, there it is. There's the light right there. So you got tick strength on this of 1. Basically, that's just going to push out the signal instantly. Tick of 2 is going to put it out just a few, like a half second or ticks later. 3, a little bit later, and 4 is the maximum delay that you can put on the signal. Now, it is important to note that the more delay you have on something, the longer it is going to take to send the signal through. And the more repeaters they have to push through, even if it's just repeaters like this line here, it's still going to take a little bit of time to get there, which means in order for you to have an order of operations happen, like you want one thing to happen first, a second thing to happen next, and then a third thing to happen after that, you can start seeing how you would be able to take that signal and manipulate it to do different things at different points in the process. All right, have I lost you yet? Are you confused? If you are, go back and rewatch the previous segments. I'll be waiting right here for you. Are you back yet? Do you understand? Do you see what I'm putting down? No? No? You don't understand? All right. I'm going to let you go back, rewatch it again, because we are about to get very, very, very confusing, and you're going to have to follow me very closely. So, come back in a few more seconds. Oh, I can't believe there's a wandering trader inside my creative world. What do you got? You got anything good? You got black dye, gray dye, tube coral, horn coral, oxidaisies? Like, I can pick those up off the ground. Why would I want to buy those from? Oh, oh, hi, you're back. Are you ready? Are you ready? Because we're gonna dive into the deep end here. So, what you see here is yet another version of my azalea bush dirt farm. Okay, this is a dirt farm. That is what it was built to do. It's not to harvest wood. We just happen to get wood out of it. So, let's try and get through this explaining how this all works. But first, let's talk a little bit about when you want to send a signal to a given point. And I actually need the button instead. So, as I demonstrated, anytime you got a redstone signal, it is going to be instantly on. However, if you need things to happen in an order of operation, you have to plan when the signal is getting to a certain point, how long it's there, and when it's shutting off. For an example, a double piston extender. This is not as tricky as some people would think. However, it does have one little thing that you need to be aware of, and that is how do I get the signal to activate certain things in a particular order? Well, we're going to quickly do this right here. I'm just going to drop down a few pieces and show you exactly how you would do this. So, you got your input signal right here. What you need to have happen is we don't have the right piston. That's the wrong piston. I need this one. Yep. Make sure you have the right piston because that's a very important. It will come up later on the test. So, this signal comes into here. It's going to go around, and the first thing you want to have actually happen is you want this back piston to extend. Now, the other problem with that is you also want that back piston to extend after, or to bring back after the first one closes back up. That way, this piston is going to grab. Let's do it this way. This is the way that I've seen other people do it, and this probably works a lot better. So you want this piston to extend, and then this piston to extend. In order for it to close up in a dual piston pushing manner, you also then want this piston to come back, and while this one's still extended, so it can pull that one back, then this one goes. Do you see the order there? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what we need to have happen. And this is just really quick and crude. I'll actually be very surprised if this works first try. So, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to have the signal come around here. It's going to go to this back piston first. That one's going to extend. Then, yeah, this should work. So then the signal is going to go through these two repeaters right here. While these two repeaters are active, it's going to activate this redstone dust, which is then going to activate this repeater. So we are in this state right here. So once this repeater turns on, that piston's going to extend. At the same time, it's going to send the signal back around to here, and I just thought about something. We need to not have it loop. So make sure that you close off any loops. You don't want it looping infinitely in a specific direction. Repeaters are really good about making sure a loop stays in a particular direction. Okay. Actually, let's do this first. We'll keep that there. We'll show why you don't want it to do what I was just about to show you. There's a specific reason, and you could put the repeater here or there, but we'll get to that in a second. So this is going to activate and keep that piston open so that it is still attached to that one. Then the signal should degrade, and this should close. And after that one closes, then the signal's actually going to come off this one, and it's going to bring that piston back. In this setup right here, it may actually stay on indefinitely, which is a mistake. Let's go ahead and demonstrate that because I think this is a mistake. We'll see. Yep, it is. So, easy to fix. We'll just go ahead and chop that off right there. And we are going to put a repeater right there just so the signal doesn't come back around into these pistons. But you can see that it will open, that will activate, and then it'll bring that piston right back. That's fairly quick. You can see what is going on there. So let's go ahead and turn it on forever. Turn it off. So again, we're going to see that piston extend first. This one's going to extend second. It's then going to collapse, and then that one's going to pull the piston in front of it behind. There you go. And that's how that works. So that is the first step in this little conversion process. The other thing about this is knowing exactly how certain things work. For instance, you can turn stone into moss, and because of the properties of azalea bushes, they will actually convert moss into rooted dirt. It's the only tree that will do that, with the exception of large spruce trees. And I can actually demonstrate this. Yeah, not exactly fast, but I can demonstrate this at a decent interval here. We're just going to go ahead and show you this. Moss. Come on, brain. My brain isn't braining. Let's get rid of the water bottle. Need that. So, This is the only other tree that will do this. And I am specifically putting an extra 2 there just to demonstrate what is going to happen here. So if you put a 2x2 of spruce and then you bone mill this, okay, it made the yeah, that wasn't meant to happen. Anyway, so you will see that converted the moss into podzol. So you can do it with spruce. It's a little bit more annoying to try and farm, or you can do it with azalea bushes. And once you bone mill the azalea bush, it will turn the moss into rooted dirt, as you just saw. So that is the first principle of, hey, I want to use this mechanic to make an infinite amount of dirt. We'll get to the rest of it later, but that was the initial idea for me, is I wanted to make an infinite amount of dirt. I know a way to do it. Now I've got to build a machine around that kind of principle. So how does the machine actually work with just basic redstone? This is bare bones basic. I cannot reiterate that enough. This is simplicity. So the first thing we need to do is we need to come in here and we put down an azalea bush right there on that moss block, and we bone mill it. So once we bone mill it, we push this button over here. So what is going to happen when we push this button is the signal is going to come around here into these repeaters right here. So it's going to go up into this, and it's going to do exactly like over here, where it's going right into these sections right here, which is going to be our front piston pusher. But before that happens, because we have delay on this, it's actually going to go over into this back section here. So effectively what's going to happen is the back pistons are going to extend first. Now, because of this delay, the signal is going to go through here, and then the front pistons are going to extend. Now, this little setup right here is a pusher setup. So we have wood there. I don't know why it's some kind of technical thing that it allows for trees to grow beside it as long as there's wood there. So you do need to use wood in this kind of contraption. If you're farming wood specifically, you can do it that way. Why this block has to be glass, again, I'm not technical. I don't know why it needs to be glass. I just know that it does. Let's leave it at that. We're not talking about that. We're talking about how to use redstone. And you've got to be inventive of it, and you got to think the process through. So, once all this is done, this is all going to collapse up. And then the signal's going to go around here. We've got a whole bunch of repeaters just to cause a little bit of delay for the pushing action to finish up once these pistons retract their pistons, and these bring back the wood and the glass back to their original position. The signal is going to go over here into another piston right here. This is where we are going. This piston is part of the stone generator. So all that's going to happen is it's going to push out the stone here, which is going to push it back into that position there, as it is now empty. Let's go ahead and kind of demonstrate this a little bit. We are going to deactivate that right there. I am going to activate this lever here so you can see that it pushes that through. So that is what is going to happen before that pusher over there activates. So we can deactivate this. The signal is going to go through here. Right now it is not, because we did just deactivate that. So I can put that there. Now I need to put one right here so we don't cause any problems anywhere else. So I'm going to go ahead and activate this. Actually, we need to break that one right there so you can see that it's going to push that. But first up. So this spot is now empty. There is nothing there. So we come over here, we activate this section. The signal is going to go through here, and you can see that it is delayed a little bit. And it goes into this piston right here, which pushes the stone forward. And now, we come over here, you can see that there is a stone block right there. So from there, this actually deactivates, causing our little stone generator to produce another piece of stone. And now from there, our signal is actually going to go this way. And it's going to go off into several different directions and do several different things. So in order to explain all this, the best thing that I can do is just show you this all at once, because there's so many moving parts right here. All of this is activating pretty much at the same time. We do have things activating in certain sequences. However, trying to make sure that we keep all the sequences, don't break anything, is a little more frustrating than actually just showing you the entire process from this point forward. So, what is going to happen here? Well, first things first, we have a dispenser here with bone meal in it. You can see right there, it's got bone meal. This is going to get activated first. It's going to bone meal this moss, and if you aren't familiar, let's go ahead, we will come over here. Now, this isn't a tutorial for how to build this farm, okay? This is a tutorial for how you use redstone in the most basic sense and learn and experiment with it. Because this, for me, was just an experiment. Like, I knew what needed to happen. I just had to figure out the how. So, we got stone around there, and we got this moss here. If I bone mill this, you will see that it transforms all of this into moss. So you can transform stone into moss and then use that moss in whatever method you want, whether that be collect the actual moss, collect the stuff off the top of the moss like carpets, and other pieces that spawn on top of it, including, let's see if I can get a bush. Yeah, there you go, an azalea bush right there. So you can use it to collect materials like that just by providing bone meal to it. So once that activates, then we've got a new problem. You see all the grass and everything that has spawned on there? Well, we can't put a azalea bush on top of carpets. I can put it there, but not on top of the carpets. Duh, you already know this. So what needs to happen is we need to break that. We need to get rid of it somehow automatically so we don't have to worry about it. That's what this piston and that piston right there are for. That's the next thing that's going to happen. These pistons are going to both activate after this dispenser has turned that stone into moss. So these are going to activate, and they are going to break whatever spawned on top of there. So if it's carpet, it's going to break it. If it's grass, it's going to break it. If it's a azalea bush or flowering azalea bush, it is, it is going to break it. Now, because this system also has a lot of other moving parts, we are also going to come over to these pistons right here. So once all that activates, these pistons are also going to activate. We got a couple different ones. We got this set up right here for the wood. This one's going to push the wood that way, and then we have one for the dirt. It's pushing the dirt that way. All of those are also going to activate. Let's go ahead and demonstrate this by flipping this switch on. And it should be fine. I just thought there may be a problem here, but no, it should be fine. We'll activate that. Okay, so as you can see, that stone block has now been turned into moss. We did pick up a carpet, so it broke a carpet on one of these two. No idea which one, just one of them. These pistons are extended. Let's go down to this one first. You can see that that piston is extended. These pistons are extended, and these pistons are extended. Again, this is all done with just bare bones basic redstone signals. So it's just signals going places. It's not comparing anything. It's not taking an output. It's not taking a reading. It's not doing any of the fancy stuff that's usually associated with really condensed redstone. We are dealing with just plain basic signals here. Just absolutely basic signals. Now, if I go ahead and I deactivate this, you'll see that all the pistons go back into their normal form. And also that the TNT goes off. So, that is the next thing that happens, actually. So you can see right here, the signal splits off and goes this way up into our TNT duping machine. Now, I've had to alter this. Not really the actual duping machine, but the actual, like, collecting of the TNT so that it can explode in a controlled position. I tried doing this the way that I've done it on my Let's Play world, and apparently in 1.21.4, something has changed. It doesn't work the exact same. So I had to go through a lot of explosions. That is one of the things you are going to have to deal with when dealing with Redstone, is you are going to have to experiment. You're going to have to work on it and see exactly what happens and figure out how to fix it. It's going to be a lot of troubleshooting, but it is so worth it in the end, because in the end, not only are you making a fancy new machine for your world, but you're learning how to use Redstone as you experiment. So you are growing. Anyway, let's move on. So that's going to activate, it's going to dupe this TNT. The TNT is going to fall down here. It's going to explode. Now, here is the wood right here. There is a little bit of loss considering that we are using TNT duping. Don't worry about it too much. It happens. There's not a whole lot you can do about it when you're doing this method. There are no other methods that really work. The only way you can do this is if you're dropping TNT. That's legitimately it. Even if you're dropping actual TNT and not dropping duped TNT, you are going to lose a little bit. That it is just, it's going to happen. There's no way around it. As you saw right there, we do have some stuck on that block right there. Even when this gets pushed across, that TNT is going to explode, break that block. Maybe the explosion's going to hit those. I don't know where that went. Maybe it won't. It's a gamble on whether or not it's going to destroy any items that fall. If any items fall on this platform, it is going to unfortunately blow them up. I did have to make this platform down here exactly like this instead of doing a single block because, like I said, something's changed in 1.21.4, and I cannot reliably control where the TNT is falling. I should still have... No, I don't. I was going to say I should still have a button somewhere where we can show this. Oh, actually I do. So we can activate that. You can see the TNT gets duped. And it dropped on the forward section there. Let's go ahead and see. It did break that block that time. Let's go ahead and activate it again, because I want to catch the fact that this is... Yeah, see, now it's in the back, and it's actually in the middle of these two that time. That is something that you're going to have to figure out and deal with. There used to be a method that I would use to drop it through a hole so that we can control exactly where it was dropping. However, I noticed in 1.21.4 that the TNT wasn't going through the hole. In fact, what was actually happening is, depending on where it was getting pushed from, because it's completely random as far as where it was dropping, it would either go into the block that way, or it would go into the block this way, instead of falling through the hole. Just be aware that you are going to have to troubleshoot and try and figure out exactly what's going on there. You may have to make a few versions, test them, have it blow up in your face, test it again, blow it up in your face, test it again. I really suggest, if you're going to be any type of redstone, or if you're going to build anything, build it in a creative world first and test how it works. If you're on a server, good luck. That's simple as that. Now then, what are we going to do with all this dirt? Well, we're going to collect it. How are we going to collect it? Well, let's push it into another blast chamber. Okay? How are we going to push it? Well, this system here is actually separate from all of this. This is its own closed system. It needs all of those blocks there to control the pushing of the dirt and the wood to get into the blast chamber and get the dirt over to this section. However, this section is slightly different. This does not rely on any of the previous redstone. It has its own system. One of the things you can do with redstone is you can send a redstone signal vertically. So if I have this torch here and I put a block there, I can actually take that signal and travel it up vertically in this method. Specifically, I would rather do it this way. So you can see that this torch is on, that torch is off, and now if I put another one up here, that torch is now on. However, if I then deactivate this torch down here, you can see that this top one is now off. So based on that little pattern right there, you can manipulate redstone torch towers in this method. However, there are plenty of different ways of doing that, and I will quickly demonstrate that here. This is exactly the same thing, only it's spread out to 2. And you will see that if I continue this up, we are, in fact, at the exact same style, where the signal we're getting at the top here is off in both places. This one uses more blocks, it uses more redstone torches, but it does function exactly the same. Now, if I provide a redstone signal to the back of that block, it'll turn that torch off, which means that this top torch is now on, exactly the same as this one. And again, we can use this to manipulate a few things. And that signal always goes through the block. So what I've done over here with the redstone is we're actually using the action of the dirt getting pushed along here as part of the redstone itself. So once the dirt reaches this block right here, it is actually going to activate this redstone line here, which is going back over and into this section right here. This is where it's going to go first. It's going to hit these. It's going to activate these pistons, which is going to push all that forward. At the same time, it is then going to come over here. It's going to activate that dispenser right there, which is facing into the dirt. Obviously, it's not dirt right now, but it is facing into the dirt, and it is full of water bottles. So we're going to convert the dirt right here into mud. On both sides, we're going to convert this into mud. Now then, once that happens, it is going to spit out the used water bottle. And because we are constantly supplying a full load of water bottles, I don't know why this isn't full. There we go. That's now full. This one is not full either. I don't know why that's happened. Anyway, it's going to supply a constant flow of water bottles so that we never worry about running out and not being able to produce mud. So one of the things I will suggest when you do this is you completely fill this up with water, glass bottles. You're going to need a metric ton of glass bottles. So good luck. I hope you have a way of farming glass. Anyway, what happens once that signal goes through is you are going to get a signal going into this dispenser right here, which is going to take the water bottles. It's going to take the glass bottles, it's going to make a water bottle, and then it's going to spit out that water bottle because it can't hold it, and it's going to go up into this hopper, which pushes it right back into the dispenser. Now, on this side, because we do have a signal right here that we are capturing, that dispenser is going to activate a lot sooner than it should. However, on this side, we took our signal off of here, going into here, and it's going into that dispenser for this side. So that is how we are getting the signal there. Now then, after all that activates, now we're going into a long repeater chain in order to delay the signal just ever so slightly between each one of these modules. So this dirt's going to get pushed forward. It's going to go on top of these pistons right here. And this is where I was talking about where we need things to happen in a certain order. So once the dirt, clay, and mud are on top of these, we need these pistons to fire. But we need them to fire after all of this has been pushed. So once that happens, these are going to push up. And again, same thing. We've got this row right here. These need to activate after that section. And then it pushes it forward. Now, after that has happened, the signal is still traveling down here Once all this gets pushed forward, we do it all over again. This set of pistons gets pushed upward. That set of pistons pushes outward. Up and out. Up and out, up and out, up and out. Now, once we get over to this side, I actually took the signal from here, and this is going up into these pistons here. So I took the signal off of that section, and we run it up into our TNT duping machine. And that is basically where we're getting the signal there. So let's go ahead and demonstrate all of this in working order. It is slow enough that we can go ahead and demonstrate it. And because it is slow enough, I cannot reiterate this enough. Slower machines don't break as much. If you are making a machine and you slow it down to ensure that it is working properly, yes, it will take more time as far as whatever it is you are farming, but it's less likely to break. Even on a server, it is less likely to break if it is not moving at Mach 23. Forget what all those other Redstoners are saying about having it move as fast as possible. Don't do it. You don't want it moving that fast because it can break things if something gets out of sequence or if something is not rendering. You want it to go slow so that it does actually function. So let's go ahead and demonstrate this. I'm going to put this root of dirt right there, and you're going to watch the whole process over here unfold. So boom, those get converted. That gets pushed up. That gets pushed out. Up, out, up, out. And then the TNT goes off. And it explodes down there. And you can see right here. There we are. We got the clay coming in. And we got the mud coming in. And then we got the root of dirt coming in. And that's how you can actually make a complex machine with just basic redstone knowledge. Like, you don't need to have all the knowledge in the world to make a redstone machine. Now, I know some people out there are going to be like, well, this is too big, it's too wide, it's too ugly. Actually, I like redstone like that. I think, like, showing a redstone machine out like this, having it displayed, and making it large is actually really cool to watch. More compact things break far more easily than anything else, especially if you're on a server. I cannot reiterate it enough. Like, if you're doing fancy redstone that works like on a 0-tick clock or something, it doesn't work as well on a server. It's that kind of stuff works better when you're on a solo world, not on a server. Even with redstone of this size, I would not recommend using something like this. Actually, I was going to say I wouldn't recommend using this on a server. No, that's not right. I would recommend using this on a server because it's going to work. I guarantee it. If you're coming here to look at this and be like, oh, I'm going to build that on my server and show my friends that, hey, I'm a redstoner. Well, go right ahead. Just give me some credit. Anyway, that's all the time I've got for you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you liked seeing this machine go. And before we go, I just thought about it. We haven't run the machine at 100% all the way through. So let's go ahead and make sure I didn't break anything over here. Let's just go ahead and do this. We can demonstrate this right here, right now. So we've got a azalea tree right there. Ignore all the bushes. Azalea trees are kind of annoying as far as how they grow. So we're going to press this and see that pushes all of that out. That's going to push a new stone block. That's going to activate. That got pushed already. There's your TNT going off. And that did push one block there because we already did push that out. So let's do one more. And you can hopefully catch all this. Because it's very efficient. It does everything that it should in the orders that it should. And I cannot reiterate making sure that you have things activating in a very specific order based on what you need to have happen. And make sure that you plan it out. Like, tell yourself, okay, what do I need to happen? When does it need to happen? So I need this to happen at this point. We completely missed this side. You did hear the explosion there. We can come over here. We can see that we're collecting the wood there. Again, I've been running this a lot, and it's not getting all the wood. This is not a wood farm, it's a dirt farm. So, I'm not worried too much about losing wood out of it. But yeah, that's how that works, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you around. And if you're new here, think about subscribing. I really could use the support. And leave a like, comment, leave me a comment. Does this change your life? Has Redstone, has my knowledge inspired you in some way? Show me what you've made. Show me the Redstone. I'm Natanas Likens. I'll see you later. Take care of each other, and God bless. Bye. What are you doing here? The video's over. I'm just chilling in my Redstone room. I mean, go home. There's nothing to see here. Well, except for maybe this. I never figured it out. You know what this is? This is me trying to figure out Tango Tech's factory Redstone. Yeah, I usually don't talk about them, but that is what this is. I'm not going to deny it. I never figured it out, really. I was really trying. Like, I don't know, like this Redstone that he did, I don't know how it works. And more correctly, I don't know why it works. Like, I have racked my brain on how he set up the binary system for his factory. And it doesn't work. I've tried it. I've tried it several times. It doesn't work. I built my own version. This works. But trying to reproduce what he did, it doesn't work. I don't understand what he did. But yeah, maybe we'll talk about that more in the next time. But for now, shoot. Go home. The video's over. There's no reason for you to be here. Bye.